Hey everybody, my name is Scott. I'm with the Arizona Hot Tub Factory and they call me the Spa Man. Today I'm working on a diverter valve that has been leaking. We couldn't figure out why. One of the techs took it apart and noticed that the piece underneath was warped and stuff. We tried to pull this piece out, which this is called, this particular one will not come up out of the socket. So what we did is we've taken it all apart, we've loosened it up, and on the other side down here we got 3 hoses. We've already taken the sides off to make this later. We got 1 hose right here, and then we got 2 hoses on the other side. What we're going to do is we're going to cut these hoses off, and then we're going to get a new diverter valve and we're going to replumb it in. This is something that a lot of homeowners can do for themselves. If not, a tech like myself or any tech in your local area can take care of this. It's not a hard thing to work on. This particular tub, the insulation comes right out of it. Other hot tubs, you have to actually dig into the insulation to actually get to where the area is and stuff. This one just happens to be a simple one to work on. So anyways, I'll show you kind of how we do it. We use nothing more than a Sawzall. We try to get it as close to the coupling because we still want to use this hose, and then we'll replace this. So by taking it right here, and as you can see, it comes off real easy. We'll clean all this off and then we'll just re-glue it. You'll still have enough room. On the other one, I'm not sure if you guys are going to be able to get in here to see me cut it, but I will cut it out of there. And as you can see, it comes out pretty easy. After I made that second cut, it was able to come out of there pretty easy. Got a little bit of water. We'll move this one over a little bit. Not sure. This one I'm actually going to probably cut into the valve itself. What you can see is I actually cut the valve. I could care less about this part. This part's going to be thrown away. But what I did not want to do is I did not want to make this particular hose too short. You can see that if I would have tried to cut it the way it was, it might have been too short. So I can come back. Now I got a clean cut. Now on the one side, they had this where these went in. This side they used an extension with an elbow. Because I cut these off like that, I might actually put an extension with an elbow in it just to give me a little bit more space. We'll have to see. Anyways, I'm going to head off to the parts store right now and I'll be back at you in a couple seconds. Okay, we're back. Now I forgot to mention, when I took this diverter valve off before, I did mark number 1, number 2, number 3, which corresponds with number 1, number 2, or number 2 and number 3 tube, just so I know exactly which position they go back in. It's usually not a big deal, but this particular one, you do have to have the water coming up this way to go out. And this diverter valve is pretty easy. So we got a brand new diverter valve, we got 3 couplers, we got 3 elbows, and I bought a reducer because it reduces down to this size. So anyways, but before we do that, I've got to show you one thing. Okay, before we can replace the diverter valve, we must remove this piece right here. What this does right here, the old diverter valve used to go up into it, and then it had a locking nut on the top. So what I'm going to do is take this one off. So it just unscrews counterclockwise, and then you push the old one out. Now what I'll do is, with the new diverter valve, you take the new diverter valve apart by turning this. Then the diverter valve will come apart. Pull that out. Set it aside. Then you slide this piece out. Careful not to lose this O-ring. That O-ring needs to be up on top. Pull that piece out. Inside the diverter valve, the water will come in this way and go this way. So you can divert it from left to right, or you can put it in the middle and have a 50-50. Okay, so this particular diverter valve has an O-ring here, here, and there's one on top. So you definitely don't want to lose those. Sometimes I'll put a little bit of Vaseline on them or a little bit of like 3-in-1 oil just to get it to slide real good when I'm starting out. After that, then I'll turn around and tighten it down. Okay. With our new piece, take this piece apart, stick it down on top. You don't have to go crazy trying to get this thing super tight. Just get it so it's snug. Good enough. Okay, to complete the rest of this job, it's pretty simple. I'll do it step by step. The first thing I do is I clean out all these little dingleberries. Try to make sure there's nothing that can get back inside the tub. Anything that's hanging off and stuff like that. And just clean them out, pull them off as best you can. Nothing perfect, you know. It's like I said before, this is not rocket science. Just want to make sure we get anything that's hanging up off and stuff. Do a good job cleaning it up and stuff like that. Same thing with this one. And I'm just using just a simple carpet knife, I guess is what these are called, or utility knife. And just try to get all the stuff off that you can. Make it as clean as I can all the way around. That way it'll be less cleanup when I go to fill up the tub with water and stuff. I've done hundreds of these over the years, so this is not that big of a deal. Now there's several different ways of doing this. There's several different orders of doing this. Everybody has a different way of doing it. I would say that there's no right, no wrong way to do it. There's just how you've become accustomed to doing it and stuff. So anyways, what I first start with, the first thing I always start with when I do these is I start primering everything. Primer helps the glue set, helps it clean things. So the first thing I'll do is I'll start cleaning up all the fittings. And this is nothing more than a primer. Do a really good job of this. Make sure you get it nice and clean. The better job you do now, the chances of you having leaks goes way down. Where's the diverter valve? Now, on the diverter valve, you don't put any PVC anywhere on these threads. None. You can turn around and clean the inside of this, and the bottom one, but do not put any PVC on the threads. Or I should say any PVC cement. And that's kind of what it looks like on the inside as I do it. I'm going to go ahead and shut off the video for a second, and I'll get all the rest of these done, then I'll start it back up again. Okay, welcome back everybody. As you can see, I've now got all the purple sealer, or the purple, what do you call it, primer on every single piece. So we'll start with a couple simple pieces that need to go together first. I will mark number 3 on this one. because I know that that's where number 3 is. This one, do the same thing with this one. We're going to put some glue on it. The reason why I'm doing these is because I really want the ones with the PVC to seal really well at the beginning. These are the ones that you will always have a problem. Hard PVC to hard PVC, what they call rigid, is usually never a problem. But sometimes the PVC that is flexible sometimes likes to move on you. Like this one, as I let go, it starts pushing out. And I really want to make sure it's in there nice and tight. This one again, mark this one as number 2. That way I remember where they go. Now with these, I'm going to need a little bit of rigid PVC to add to it. So what I'm going to do, brought a piece down, and I don't need a really long piece, probably 2 or 3, about 4 inches. There again, I clean them out. I can use my fingers on stuff like this. You're just trying to get the ends off a little bit. Don't worry about nasty cuts like that. It's not going to make a bit of difference. PVC is a wonderful thing. It glues together so well. Put a little bit of primer on these. And don't worry about being a little bit sloppy with it. It's not going to hurt anything. This is not, it's like one of my favorite phrases is, it's not rocket science. I started out doing swimming pools and doing sprinkler systems in the late 70s. And nothing has really changed. I think the glue might have gotten a little bit better, but it's all PVC. And the way that this stuff works is just fantastic. If you take your time and do it right, it usually never leaks. Like last time, put a bunch of stuff, put a bunch on there, put it right here. Just give it a second for it to set up. Oh, definitely don't want that. So this will be a great hot tub. When we get all this done, we'll fill it up with water and show you how it works from there. Okay. Number 2 was the bottom. So we will need a little piece of PVC for the bottom one. I do have to apologize. This is one of my first videos showing somebody how to fix a hot tub. All my friends have been after me to show people for years, and I just kind of never did. If everybody likes these videos, I'll probably do more in the future. Put an elbow on. There is no right and wrong way of doing these. It's just making sure you get everything glued correctly. Okay, with this one, what I'm doing is this will come in here like this. One of these tubes will go in this one, and the other one will go in here. We'll put it up in place, and then we'll do the other side. And don't be chintzy with the glue and with the PVC cement and with any of the primer. This is nickel and dime stuff. It costs $4 or $5 for 2 of these. You get them at any hardware store. Give it a little twist, kind of eyeball it, get it lined up. That's pretty much it. Got to cut one more for the other side. And no, I am not measuring these things. It's just from a little bit of experience, I've learned just about how much I need to do each part. There's no exact science to this. A lot of it is trial and error. I believe in giving myself a little bit extra, just because if you make it too tight, it's so hard to get everything to go back together and fit. And I do not want those problems. On this side, I need a reducer. So where did I put that? Oh, it's right in front of me. It would have bit me. So I've been working on hot tubs off and on since approximately the early 1990s. Okay, this is what they call a manifold. So what I'll do is I'll stick this up in the hole, and I'll take the ring and I'll hold it up, so then I'll glue out the last 3 pieces. So what I'm going to need well, I guess I can do it without doing that. Normally I will try to, there we go, pull these 2 apart. This has 1 O-ring inside of there. That's where that one stays. Make sure that that's there. Okay? Otherwise, it will leak on you. This particular O-ring goes up on top. And then you got these 2 O-rings right here that will keep it sealed. So you come from underneath. That's all you're going to do is push it up in there. Just going to use this right now to hold it in place. Okay. Well, I guess I can go ahead and put it all together. So what you're going to do, it just slides in place. Stick your O-ring in place. You'll take your diverter. You slide the diverter valve down, and the diverter valve, if you look at it, it's got a lip, so it can only go 180 degrees. So it doesn't matter if you put it in this way or you put it in this way. it's still going to only turn 180 degrees. It does not matter which way it goes. So I always put them so that the opening is toward the tub. Slide it down in there, and you'll hear it clip. I can turn it one way, it stops. I turn it the other way, it stops. And then this has got an indentation into it to where it'll sit down, and it's also got the O-ring right there that sits on the inside. You just got to make sure that's there. Okay, and then that sits on this, pull this out, sits right on this little ledge right here, and it pushes against it. When the pressure's on, that's what keeps it from leaking. So we'll put that back down in there. Make sure it's in the right spot so it clicks back and forth. Take this, make sure the O-ring's in there, slide that over there, and you just got to wiggle it around a little bit. Once that's there, then that will tighten down. That's going to come out really nice. Okay, now, when you install your cap has flow, and it talks which way you can do it. I always make sure that I turn it one way. Okay, that's all the way, so that would be all the way like this. Okay, and then I figure out where the other way is, and then I figure out where the middle is. So I make sure that I got my pipe where I want it. Turn it about, grab it with a pair of pliers. Okay, there's where it stops. So I go about in the middle. Let's see where it goes if I go the other way. Okay. So that's about the middle. And then I just find where the center. Push down. Now it goes left. Now it goes right. Put it in the middle. If you put it in the middle, it's 50-50. If you go all the way one way, it gives more pressure on certain jets and shuts off the other. If you go the other way, it gives more pressure on those jets and shuts off those. I like it right in the middle. These are air valves. When you turn on the air, it's kind of like you get bubbles, and it's kind of like putting your thumb over the end of a hose. It gives you a lot more pressure with the jets. Or you can turn off the air, and then you don't get any air pressure at all. Okay. Okay, a few more steps and we're done. Make sure I got enough primer. I noticed a spot that I missed. Okay, let's get the primer out of the way. Put some more glue on it. Now with these hoses, because they're a PVC flexible hose, sometimes they like to move on you. And it's not like doing rigid stuff. Rigid stuff, you push it in there, it stays. For some reason, the flexible PVC, if you put it in there, it'll like squeeze its way out. So you definitely want to hold it till it sets up. Once it sets up, then you're fine. See, that's done. Now we go to the other side. Okay, 2 was on the bottom. 3 was on the top. Well, might have to do that one first. Three's on the top. Okay, we have the finished product. I'll kind of give you a look. Comes in right here. We got all that cleaned up right there. And if you come over to the other side, you can look inside. I don't know if you can really see what I've done. It's kind of dark out. But anyways, that's kind of how you do it. You just got to play with it a little bit to make it all fit and stuff. Well, what we're going to do now, I'm going to clean up this entire tub. I'm going to fill it up with water. And I'm going to fire it and see if I got any leaks. I don't think I will, and I'll kind of clean up my mess down here also. Anyways, I'll be back with you soon as I fill it up and get it all clean. Well, the hot tub is all cleaned up now and ready to be filled with water, and we'll test it out and see how our fix worked for this valve. Underneath, you can see it's a little bit better during the day. You can see how I put it in there. You got the hose on the top and the hose on the bottom. Came out pretty nice and clean. Over here we got this one up here. Came down, so you can kind of see how we did it. Nothing to it. It just takes a little time. You take your time, and that's all it takes. This is without a doubt the fastest way I know to fill a hot tub. The particular pump that we use pumps out 78 gallons a minute. So we can pump out roughly a 300-gallon hot tub in about 4.5 minutes. So we'll fill this thing up and see how it goes. Hey everybody, well, we've got this bad boy all filled up with water now, and we're going to go ahead and fire it, and we're going to show you how this hot tub works. This particular hot tub is a 110 plug and play hot tub, which means it actually plugs in to a 110 outlet that can be ran on a 15 amp or a 20 amp circuit. Other hot tubs have to be ran on a 220 50 amp circuit. It does have a GFI that's hooked to the cord. Just kind of giving you kind of a rundown on what this particular hot tub has. Anyways, let me go ahead and fire it up and see what happens. So far, so good. Oh, right on. Doesn't appear to be having any problems. Let's go ahead and we'll shut. What I always do is I shut off the pump before I change the diverter valve. It puts so much pressure with the pump on this valve that it turns around and it'll actually break the diverter on the inside. So I've turned it all the way to one way, and we'll turn it back on. And right now, it's pretty much running all the jets that for your seating jets and stuff. And if you turn around, turn it off, you go in the middle, what it's going to do is, down on the bottom, it has a jet for your feet. Now, you really can't see it until I turn around and I'll turn on the bubbles. You can actually see the power of this hot tub. By turning on the air valves, what it's doing, it's kind of like putting your thumb over the end of a hose. It just gives it that little bit more pressure. We can turn it off again. Now watch this. This is really super cool. For all those that really want a great foot massage, this thing's got a foot massage like you wouldn't believe. Look at these bubbles over here. If my cameraman will come around this way, it appears that we do not have any leaks. Now, we did our repairs yesterday, approximately 12 hours ago. So this hot tub sat for about anywhere between 8 and 12 hours before we put water in it. Generally speaking, I would like the glue, the PVC cement, to basically set up and harden and dry for at least 5 to 6 hours. If I can do it late in the afternoon, then and then come back the next day and refill the hot tub, I have found that that works the best. You don't have problems with getting leaks. Everything got a chance to set up and do what it's supposed to do. But right now, I think we have fixed our problem. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in and watching our channel. I really appreciate all the support. And if you could, please hit that subscribe button at the bottom right-hand side of your screen. And if you have any questions or things that you have problems with your hot tub, please leave them in the comments. I will answer your comments, and I'll try to do a video on it and show you how to fix it. This is not, like I've said, this is not rocket science. This is a piece of cake to work on. It just takes a little forethought to think about what you're doing and the process of how you're going to go about accomplishing your task at hand. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next hot tub.